The election to the leadership of the Labour Party of Jeremy Corbyn represents a kind of political revolution within the Labour Party. It's a massive victory for left and anti-austerity forces. This can be gauged by the venom, the drip of poison from the capitalist press that greeted Jeremy Corbyn's election. What we have seen is that this man has become a point of reference for the mass of working people. We've seen a similar situation elsewhere in the developments around Bernie Sanders in the USA, of the phenomena of Podemos in Spain, and of course of Syriza. Although Syriza is a warning that this represents one step, you have to follow through and satisfy the demands which have been aroused by Jeremy Corbyn's campaign and his victory. And the right wing within the Labour Party and outside have not given up on their project. They hope to roll back the Corbyn revolution, if you like, by first of all passive resistance within the Parliamentary Labour Party. And let us remember, about 15 to 20 MPs voted for Jeremy. The overwhelming majority of Labour MPs represent the past and not the present, and that makes urgent the demand of mandatory reselection within the constituency Labour parties themselves. We enthusiastically welcome the victory of Jeremy. We will give him the maximum amount of support, but it's vital to learn the lessons of history. There's about 15,000 active members, we believe, in the Corbyn campaign. It's necessary to organise them to take a new road, not go back to the old conservative structures and policies of the past, but to formulate a form of organisation similar to the origins of the Labour Party in a federal party, an open party, call a conference of all those who are prepared to fight against austerity and also for socialism, and we would like to be part of that process itself. Social democracy that is trying to manage capitalism even better than the capitalists is utterly discredited by these events and by other similar events in Europe and throughout the world. The weakness of Blairism, who claimed that they represented the real voice of Labour, is shown by the pitiful vote of Kendall. She got 4.5%, and their watchword now is, we are the 4.5%. But even the strongest movement needs to identify with the conditions of ordinary working people, of the mass unemployment, of the terrible conditions that socially exist. That's why social democracy of Blair and of his equivalents in Europe has been utterly discredited. The worst possible thing that we could do, that Labour Party members could do, that the huge number of people who joined for change, and it was their votes that determined the outcome of this election, the worst thing to do would be an attempt to conciliate the right wing. The shadow cabinet appointments are very significant. John MacDonald does represent a new road opening up for possible radical policies and so on. There will be a discussion on those policies. We will eagerly participate in it. But there's no room for trying to have in the shadow cabinet and in positions of influence those who are associated with the ancien regime, with the discredited policies of the past. What is the way forward? The changes that have taken place in the leadership is not an end in itself. It can only be enduring if it becomes a weapon for changing the conditions of working people. And the defining issue that we face in Britain, it's a world phenomena, is how to combat the austerity policies of the ruling class, who all agree that the working class must carry the responsibility for this crisis. And above all, the cuts that will be announced by Osborne, in further cuts in local councils and so on. And here we agree with Jeremy Corbyn in the course of the campaign, who called upon Labour councils to stand together against the cuts. That means you don't implement the cuts. You cannot have a position where people vote for Jeremy Corbyn as the leadership and then they pursue the same old policies at local level. One job that is destroyed, services that are destroyed, is a blow against working people and a blow against the outcome of this election. We call upon all councils not to implement the cuts, not one job cut, not one cut in services. What we see here now in Britain is a new party in the process of formation. The Blairites, for once in their lives, have actually told the truth when they say this party is unrecognisable. When Blair became the leader of the Labour Party, he said it was a new party, and he was right. The old Labour Party was destroyed. Now they say this is a new party, and they are right. It's even possible they'll pursue a campaign and then they will try and overturn Jeremy and those who support him, or they could do like the French neo-socialists did in 1934-35, split from the Labour Party and play into the hands of the ruling class. We need a clear programme in relation to the problems that confront working people. The question is, what will we all do in this situation? And the question has been posed to us, will we reconsider our situation? It's too early to say exactly what we should do. We've organised and we've been successful in bringing together the Trade Union and Socialist Coalition. The Trade Union and Socialist Coalition, certainly the Socialist Party, will be eager to participate in any new realignment, but it will not be at any price. The defining issue is the issue of austerity and the attacks on working people. We must fight against the austerity programme. We must fight against the right within the Labour Party who represent this programme. We must fight against capitalism. A new chapter should be opened up. That chapter should be a mass movement against austerity at local level, at national level, and of course, fight for socialism, which means taking over the handful of monopolies who control the lives of ordinary working people. I say to you, we've entered a new era now. It's going to be one of the most interesting periods in British history. It's a massive change. Let's make sure that it's enduring by pushing forward through the breach that has been opened up and rearm the labour movement politically with the ideas of fighting against capitalism and for socialism.